CNN has their new, what was that plane that crashed?
The missing plane, yeah.
MH280, something like that.
Sounds right.
And it is now the Titanic sub. They ran out of air today. And so we believe, unless they are above water someplace and haven't found them.
I don't even think that matters, honestly, because I was watching a video on how this thing is built. They screw them in from the outside. So
so you don't have a hatchet.
They could be floating the whole time, and I don't think there's any way they're getting out of there. I could be wrong on that. Maybe there's a hatchet or some way they could escape in an emergency.
Can you imagine? You see the inside of that?
Oh, my gosh. It looks terrifying. Even if it was working, I wouldn't want to go inside of it.
I know.
It's like it's this little tiny tube. You can't stand up. You're just like basically scrunched up in this little tiny cylinder that's 2 miles under the ocean.
No way.
It was nuts from day one.
Yeah.
And did you see the clip they had of from 60 Minutes where they're like, yeah, we bought this part at Camping World. Camping World?
That's nothing against Camping World.
I mean, it's a great organization, I'm sure. But
2 miles under the ocean.
Yeah.
Probably should, I'd feel better.
We have the clip? Oh, we should play this because have you seen how they control it?
No.
Oh, you got to watch this. You got to watch this. This is incredible.
An experimental submersible vessel that has not been approved or certified by any regulatory body and could result in physical injury, disability, emotional trauma, or death. Where do I sign?
Wow. Oh, take your shoes off. That's customary.
Okay. Wow.
Inside, the sub has about as much room as a minivan.
So this is not your grandfather's submersible. We only have one button. That's it. It should be like an elevator. You know, it shouldn't take a lot of skill.
The Titan is the only 5-person sub in the world that can reach Titanic depths, 2.4 miles below the sea. It's also the only one with a toilet. Sort of. And yet, I couldn't help noticing how many pieces of this sub seemed improvised.
We can use these off-the-shelf components.
I got these from Camper World. We run the whole thing with this game controller.
Come on! Now, we run it with a game controller, and it's not even the name brand. It's like a knockoff game controller. It's not even like the real PlayStation controller.
Could we at least get one by Sony?
Yeah.
Even if it's a Sony with 2 Ys or 2 Ns, that would be sunny, but it'd be closer.
Really, it was nuts to go down there in the first place. And this CBS 60 Minutes report, they try it a bunch of times. They can't get it to work a bunch of times. They eventually do go down and come back up, and it did happen. But they were talking several of these times they'd lose contact underneath the water. You know, they would be underneath for 3 hours and they'd lose contact for 2.5 of them.
It's dangerous enough. I don't need that stress.
And to see a boat,
yeah.
I don't. I mean,
there's
look,
a lot of them up above. There's
lots of boats.
Yeah.
Go anywhere near water, you're going to see them.
Well, I mean,
and look, I understand.
If you're signing that kind of a release that he read at the very beginning, I mean, you know, they all knew.
Yes.
I mean, it doesn't lessen the pain. I can't imagine what horror they went through.
I don't even want to think about it.
I don't want to think about it.
You saw the inside of it and how they were sitting.
Yeah.
Like you can't even like stretch your legs. You're in this little tiny cylinder, and like so just being down there for hours and hours on end would be really tough to deal with. Then knowing that all of this is happening, it's a terrible story. Of course, CNN is exploiting it for every single advertiser dollar. You know, they're doing everything they can here to talk about it constantly.
Hey,
it's just really dark.
There's a couple of things I want to discuss. One is, I've said we just need to look at things and go, I'm excited to see how that works out. You know, if I would have seen that clip before they went down, I probably would have said, it's going to be exciting to see how that works out with that game controller. Here's one. Toronto, the Casey House, is a specialty restaurant now with swanky multi-course dinners and specialty cocktails. And all of the food, everything is prepared by people living with HIV. Now, I mean, unless they're bleeding on the food, which I don't think is happening.
Right.
But I don't know. It doesn't seem like something, that you it would be a big selling point. You know what I mean?
Right.
Hey, your chef has HIV. Okay, I'm cool with that. He hasn't chopped a finger, has he?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But that's your, that's like, hey, everybody in the kitchen has HIV. No, shh, keep that to yourself.
Right. Really, any disease. You don't need to tell me
Yeah,
about the diseases of the people preparing my food. Please don't.
Yeah.
Please don't.
Oh, man. Everybody has the plague, but they're all in spacesuits in the kitchen. Okay. Can you get somebody else? I mean,
it seems like a concept that is unlikely to be franchised.
well, I'm looking forward to seeing how that works out.
There you go.
Okay. Because maybe it does. Let me take you one thing. Last night, and you can watch it on youtube.com at Glenn Beck. I think they changed it. You have to have at Glenn Beck now.
YouTube.com/Glenn Beck. Let's put it that way.
Right.
You weren't listening apparently to our long conversation about this, but if you do youtube.com/Glenn Beck, you should get there.
But I thought I was listening to that. Anyway, so
that's what you always think. You always think you're
know.
listening, and you're just
what
not.
are you saying? So anyway, go to YouTube. You watch last night's special. Our Wednesday night special was very different for us. Stu and I were both on vacation, and there's a lot of news that we've been talking about all week, but I didn't know some of the other things that have happened because 2 weeks, no news at all for me. And wow, just in 2 weeks, there were some things. So we played, 2 truths, 1 lie. And I think I did pretty well.
You did incredibly well.
Yeah.
I will say they gave me the list of these things to read to you. And the first list they gave me was not highlighted as to which one was fake, and I didn't know half of them.
It's weird. I can read I know the writers, our writers, well enough to know, and I was only surprised by the press. That was the only thing that they asked hard questions, apparently.
A couple times,
and I couldn't believe that.
That can't be true. That would be the press doing their job. That was really your analysis on it.
Right. There's one we didn't get to.
Yeah, here we go. This is 2 truths and a lie over the past couple of weeks. The U.S. has 12 or more alien spacecraft. U.S. officials suggest extraterrestrial medicine may unlock the future of cancer treatment. And crashed Las Vegas UFO witness terrified by 8-foot creatures in his backyard. Quote, 100% not human. Which one is fake of those 3 stories?
I hope that one is fake because that's the least interesting of the other 2. I could see, I just read someplace about how AI is going to attract aliens and they'll be able to communicate with us now because they're so smart and AI will be communicating and so we'll get a lot of our medicine. So that could be possible. I'm going to go with one I hope is not true, and that is the 8-foot alien, but I bet you it is.
Crashed Las Vegas UFO witness was actually, in reality, terrified by 8-foot creatures in his backyard, claiming they were 100% not human. That is a real story.
What were they? Do you know?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know what they were.
Well, no need to check it out. Hey, producers, no need. When we're talking about 8-foot aliens, I don't need any more information.
No more information.
Okay.
The U.S. does, in fact, have 12 or more alien spacecraft, say military and intelligence contractors. Now, we haven't seen these, but this is what the officials are saying. Kind of crazy.
Okay, you know what's crazy? Is as big as, Hunter Biden getting off. These are huge, epic, never before happened stories in America. Donald Trump being indicted. Okay, huge. The government coming out and saying it has 12 alien spaceships? I don't know. I think that ranks high enough to be something that you might hear talk of. You know what I mean?
You'd think. But no, didn't even infiltrate your vacation.
What is it about the alien thing that we just don't care about?
It does seem like they're preparing us for something.
It does, doesn't it? It does.
They're going to be like, by the way, 7 of our last 11 presidents were aliens.
I'd be relieved. I would be so relieved.
Oh, we've already kind of dealt with it then. Maybe we're okay.
Yeah, and I'd be like, That makes sense.
Makes sense.
Thank you.
No wonder they acted that way.
Yes, that makes sense.
Yeah.
They were aliens. Great, you can eat me now. I'm fine. At least I can be eaten, not screaming like, what the hell is going on? I'll know. It's an alien.
It's an alien. No
And
big
I'm
deal.
food to him. That would be
And unfortunately,
comforting.
the one thing you'd be maybe excited about, that some extraterrestrial medicine that was curing cancer, that's the one that's not real. So we got the aliens here. They're 8 foot. They're in your backyard, but they're not doing anything positive for us. Don't worry.